The Boston Celtics pulled off another surprising trade, trading away the unhappy Malcolm Brogdon and surprisingly Robert Williams for none other than Jrue Holiday. And everyone's kind of going back and forth about if they won this trade, did they lose this trade, and all around we're kind of shocked that it happened in general. I don't think anyone thought that the Milwaukee Bucks would trade away Jrue Holiday to begin with, and now that he's on their rival team, the Boston Celtics, how do you kind of feel about everything that went down here?
Yeah, I mean, the season's been absolutely crazy for the Eastern Conference, and I was surprised to see Jrue leave the Bucks as well, and I think a lot of teams were probably in the mix. I'd love to hear how many teams were interested in Jrue or putting up offers for Jrue. I was definitely not expecting the Celtics, and I mean, Drew's coming off, he's an all-star last season, averaging, 19 points a game, 7.4 assists, 5.1 rebounds, and played really well, had a really good season. But the Celtics is kind of interesting, right? So they traded Marcus Smart, in that crazy trade to get Porzingis, and then they traded away Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon to get someone like Marcus Smart, but better in Jrue Holiday. So it's just kind of interesting. Only time will tell, like, how it kind of plays out. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of thinking that way too, that they almost went backwards in a way to where, I think we all agree that Jrue Holiday is an upgrade over Marcus Smart, but they already had a guy like that, and then they traded more to get a guy like that, kind of. It's kind of weird how they went about doing that. I get trading away Malcolm Brogdon. He was a good trade asset, and he didn't want to be there anymore after he claims that they told him that he would be kept around, and then they tried to trade him. In that first time they tried to get Porzingis to the Clippers, and that fell through. Then he pretty much requested a trade after that, and they didn't trade him as part of the actual trade to get Porzingis, so the writing was kind of on the wall for him, but I did not see them trading Robert Williams. Big part of their team. A lot of Celtics fans I know are not happy that they had to trade him here. They kind of had to do it to make the salary work. I get that. They probably could have found some other way. But obviously Portland was requesting him. They plan to keep him. And that'll be a big blow to their front court. They'll now be relying heavily on a 37-year-old Al Horford to man the middle for them, who is still a pretty good defender, but I mean, that's a tall task for him at this point. And Porzingis can kind of fill that role too, but you never know about him staying healthy or not, and he kind of prefers to play more of a power forward role, help defender role, rather than an actual last line of defense, defensive anchor kind of role. He can do it, but it'll kind of be an adjustment period for that to happen with them. And it all kind of feels a little bit weird. I do really like the fit of Jrue Holiday on their team. It's kind of like a seamless Marcus Smart throwing him in there. Only that Jrue's a better three-point shooter compared to Marcus Smart, and quite a bit better one at that too. Like, compared to Marcus Smart, who shot 33.2% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game during the past 3 seasons now, Jrue Holiday shot 39.5% on 5.1 attempts per game. That's a huge upgrade. That'll help space the court for Tatum and Brown more. You won't have a defender sagging off of him at the point of attack, and it'll help open up the court for everyone.
Before we continue, I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about and invite you to join our NBA Discord server. Our JSM NBA server is full of hundreds of people who love everything NBA. Do you like instant news updates around the league, NBA memes, talking stats, or even live chatting with others during games? The JSM NBA server has got you covered, plus so many more things to do and see. Come check out the JSM NBA server for free. We'd love to see you in there. The link will be in the description below. Now let's get back to the video.
I think that it's going to translate in more ways than people think. Obviously defense and offense, they go together in the NBA court, right? So the Celtics kind of have this rhythm, with even Horford and Tatum and Brown. They kind of have this rhythm that they had. You saw it even with Marcus Smart. I think it's going to be disrupted more than we think, with the defense going to be completely kind of flipped. Like you said, I think Porzingis can do it, but if he stays healthy, he still has to take a little leap, because he wasn't known for that. He's nowhere near on the level as Robert Williams, in my opinion. And he has to take a step into that position, and he's got to stay healthy for it. And I just think that the offense is completely flipped, the defense is completely flipped. Not necessarily that they're worse than they were before, they're just better or worse in different sections. So to me, I think it's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be different than I think how we've seen it before. And my only concern for them now especially with Porzingis and Jrue, is just how are they going to work into their offense, right? So Jrue, I don't know about you, but I fully do not expect him to put up the same numbers he did last year.
Yeah, definitely not. He'll be like a probably third, fourth intertwined option between him and Porzingis, but it's obviously going to be Tatum, then Brown, 1A, 1B, or 1 or 2, however you view them. And then Jrue Holiday and Porzingis are kind of gonna get what's left after that. And I don't think Jrue really cares. Like, he doesn't view himself probably as a number 1 or number 2 option, and he's there primarily to initiate the offense, bring the ball up the court, knock down threes, create his own shot when needed, and then play great committed point of attack defense on the other end of the court. That'll be his role for them. And I'm really not too worried about that. Yes, it will be an adjustment period. Anytime you add a big main piece to your offense or defense, it will take a little bit of time. And given that they added 2 of them now, who I imagine they'll both be in their starting lineup, I can't see any other way they go about doing that. But I like the fit. Yeah, it will take time, but I think they'll mesh pretty well. Kind of the only thing I'm worried about with them now, other than, losing Robert Williams, that was huge, is kind of their depth. They don't have great depth anymore. Robert Williams was a big part of that coming off the bench or their starting lineup, however they want to do that between him and Horford. And then no more Brogdon anymore, 6th man of the year last year for them. They got Derek White yet, who's a really great player, but other than that, Peyton Pritchard, there's not a whole lot of Sam Hauser, there's not a whole lot of great depth pieces after that, and I'm a little bit worried about that for them.
They're definitely counting on one of those players to take a leap, and they almost need to be, really competitive come late playoffs probably. Like you say, they trade away their depth. It's just, unfortunately, that's how it is. They're going to have to expect it. It all can't ride on that. I think having Derek White off the bench will definitely help. We've seen him last year in many times where he could just take over an entire game, absolutely electric from 3. Not consistent, but he can do it. And I think that'll help having him come off the bench. And another beautiful thing about having all these offensive threats is, they're obviously not all going to be in the game at the same time the entire game. Mm-hmm. So you can start it off, you can run different mix and match. I don't know. I think that the depth will be an issue, of course, if there's injuries. If the team stays healthy, the Celtics team, I don't see any issues with at least scoring offensively. And like I said, the defense, we'll just have to see. It's just going to be different. So I guess, I kind of want to end where I think the Celtics definitely still top 3. They're probably a lot of people's favorite to win after that trade. But again, it's all how it meshes. And if they can all stay healthy, I could easily see this team making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad prediction at all. I think a majority of the sports books following the trade have them tied with Milwaukee to win the East and maybe even, I think, win the NBA Finals at that too. So that's by no means a bad prediction. It's just a little bit worrisome for me. I definitely think they improved offensively where they're already top 5 rated offense. The defense for me is kind of the part I'm a little bit worried about. I still think they'll be a very good defense, probably around that top 5 range yet. And Jrue and Marcus Smart are about even at the point of attack. It's just about Al Horford and Porzingis staying healthy, because if they can't, they really don't have anyone behind them. Luke Kornet, he's at best about a 10-minute backup kind of guy. They recently picked up Wendy Gabriel, who I like. He came from the Lakers, but he's not a great defender by any means either. And if they can't lock down that last line of defense, it's going to be putting a ton of pressure on Jrue Holiday and their wing defenders, and I'm not sure they just have enough defensive depth to make it work. So hopefully they can all stay healthy and mesh quickly, and if they can do that, then I could see them making a deep playoff run and potentially go back to an Eastern Conference Finals, maybe further than that, but we'll see.